Hello everyone. So today I'm going to do the walkthrough for the last workout I'm going to show in 21 Day Fix. So I've already walked through all the other workouts with the exception of Pilates, and I won't be walking through the yoga as well because those are pretty self-explanatory, and I don't think most people get caught up on those exercises other than for me to say don't skip those workouts. I don't think I really need to do a walkthrough on those. So on day 6 of 21 Day Fix is the Dirty 30. So the Dirty 30, it's 4 rounds of 2 exercises each, and on each exercise you repeat them once. So if you think about that, that's essentially 16 movements that you do during the workout. Like I have said for all the other workouts, just keep moving. Even if it's slower, don't get caught up in going as fast as Autumn or some of the other cast members. If you're beginning, always look at Cat for the modifier. So in these videos, I'm going to show you the modifier and even how to modify the modifier if you're not in that great a shape, just to give you perspective of what you should be doing so you don't get down on yourself when you're first starting these workouts. All right, so in round 1, the first exercise is the alternating side lunge. We've done a move similar to this in lower fix, so I don't think I need to walk through as much as possible, but I'm just going to give you a couple of pointers. So as I always say, if you're new to this, always use your lightest weight. I'm using, these are 10s when I add no weights. And so with the side lunge, like I've told you guys before, feet shoulder width apart, get a nice bend to the knees, look straight, almost try to look up so you can keep your body straight. You don't want to hinge your body forward because you really want to concentrate the movement. And so when you modify, you essentially step over and, like she said, you frame the knee. And so when I first started, I literally probably could only have this much range of movement. So if you look at this, that's not a lot of range of movement. So if you're doing, do what you can as far as range of movement as you start, and that's why the Pilates and yogas are so important. So as you keep doing those, you're going to get more flexible and more movement. So now, without the modifier, now I could go all the way down, keep my body up the whole time, and as you get better and better with the workout, what you do is, of course, increase the weight and you increase how much you do. So that's the first move. Okay, so the next move is the Renegade Row of round 1. And so the Renegade Row, you're going to be working in the plank position. When you do the modifier, you're actually on your knees doing the Renegade Row. And the first 60 seconds, you do it one side, and then when you do it again, you do it on the other side. So I'm going to show what that looks like for the Renegade Row. So, like they said on the modifier, Cat is going to be on her knees. You want to suck your core in, so you want to keep your core tight, brace with your one arm, and then what you do is you want to sort of have your hands square with your shoulders so you're not leaning forward, and then you just go up and down, up and down, up and down. And so when you do it, you really want to get your arm back like that, because then you're squeeze your shoulder blade. And so that's the modifier. Unmodified, take off my watch. So you're in the plank position, and then you will just go up. And so with the Renegade Row, same thing, you just increase the weight as you get better. Okay, so in round 2, the first movement is going to be the sumo row. And so with the sumo row, one thing I didn't show you guys before when I was showing is I sort of like to keep my mat like that to sort of figure out how much I want to spread my legs. And so when I'm doing the sumo row, I sort of will go like this and I turn my feet out. As I told you guys before, when you're doing the sumo row, you want to make sure your knees are going in the same direction of your toes. Don't have them going in opposite directions. And so with the sumo row, what you do, and so when I did the modifier, I think just this. It really wasn't much of a movement. I used my lightest weight. One thing you'll notice with my arms, I keep straight, I keep my core tight, I'm breathing, so when I go up, I breathe, so always try to fix your breathing when you're doing it. The other thing, when you go up, you want to get your arms like this, and that will really work your upper shoulders. And so as you get better and more comfortable, of course you go deeper, and so now and then you increase the weight. The other thing she said, when you're doing it, pretend like you're sliding down a wall, because you don't want to be going forward or you don't want to be going backwards. So you want to, really pretend like you're sliding down a wall. You could even practice that at home. Stand against a wall and try to slide down and see what that feels like. And that's the proper movement of the sumo squat. So the second movement, or round 2, is the chest fly raise. And so you're going to be laying on your back for this. So I'm going to move over and lay on my mat so I can show you the 2 different variations. So when you're doing it, the first thing you want to do is, make sure your back is pinned to the mat. You don't want to round your back up. You want to keep a nice flat back. When you're doing this, brace your core. And the modifier, what Kat will do is that she will go from the knees, and so the movement is really you go out like so. It's 2 parts that you do at the same time. So when you're doing the fly, you basically go out like this, and then you basically will feel you squeezing your chest together. And so when you're doing this, as you get better, what you do is you increase your range of movement. And then at the same time, what you do is you lift your legs. So the modifier, you're just going up like this as you're flying down. So you go like that as you fly up. And then so when you put it all together, the movement sort of looks like this. So you go like this. And then make sure to breathe. And then so on the modifier, when I first started, I couldn't even lift my legs at the same time. So you may not be able to do that. So you may just only be able to do the fly. And if that's all you can do, that's all you can do. But really try to work on getting your knees up at the same time. So it may just be this. If that's all you can do, that's all you can do. As you move out from unmodified, then you keep your legs out, and then you go like this. So see how I move and do the movement. So as I'm lifting my legs up, flying up, as I'm going down, I put my legs down, and you brace your core. So in the third round, the first exercise is the squat lat raise. So it's another compounded movement. And what you'll see is Dirty 30. That's why it's called Dirty 30, because it is a lot of compound movements where you're doing 2 movements as once. And so with the squat lat raise, it's a combination of a squat and a lat raise at the same time. So I'm gonna break down the two movements individually and then show you combined and modified so you get a better idea what it looks like. So in lower fix, I've shown you the squat, and I'll tell you this on any leg movement, unless it's an abductor squat or something, feet and shoulder width apart, get a good bend in your knees, and then as you go down, you know, brace your core, look up, and then you go down. You almost want to feel like your hip is going out, and then that's where you get the mobility. With the lat raise, same thing, shoulder width, and what you do is you lift up. So as you can see from the sides, I'm just lifting straight up. You could even do like a bend at the arm like this. It may give you better balance as well. Notice as I go up, I breathe out. So on the modifier, what you do is you do it, as you do the squat, you do one side at a time. It will help rest one shoulder as you're going down, so it makes the movement easy. So as I put it together, feet shoulder width apart, I'm looking up. As I squat down, I'm going to lat raise. So this is what it looks like. So with the modifier, you just do it one time. And see, you may not be able to go as deep in the squat, so what you want to do is you move forward and get better. You go deeper in the squat. So, and that's the squat lat raise. The next movement that you're going to see is the tricep kickback. And so this is one of the moves that a lot of people mess up. And so with the tricep kickback, you want to do feet shoulder width apart, look up, and then what you do, you have to keep a flat back. Some people will say, what does that mean to do flat back? So flat back, you have your feet shoulder width apart, your knees slightly bent. You essentially hinge forward as you brace your core. And so it should look like this. And so I have a flat back. So if you were to rub your hand across my back, it would be a flat plane. So the next part of the tricep kickback is that you lift you like a row. Yeah. And then you essentially try to keep your arms as close to your side as possible to really accentuate the tricep. If you go too far out, it'll be harder to do the movement and you won't feel it as much in the tricep. So shoulder width apart, hinge forward, flat back, row up, and then you just go back. And you will feel it in the tricep when you're doing it. Another thing, some people stop here. If you really want to work your tricep even more, you lift it up higher and then go back, and you'll feel it more. So with the modifier, same thing. You may not be able to hinge forward as much, but you want to row forward, and then you do one at a time, so you could rest. And then you can move to the other arm. And that's the walkthrough on the tricep kickback. So the last two movements of Dirty 30 is the side bend and the side plank raise. So I'm gonna go through these back to back, so I could just get down on my mat right away and show you the two. Got the volume lower so you could hear my instruction a little better. So a side bend, it's a fairly easy movement, but it's an easy movement to mess up and not get the most effect out of it. And so what you do with the side bend, same thing. I know I say this every time, feet shoulder width apart, slight bend of the knees. And so when you do the side bend, you don't need both weights. You basically will bend, and you should feel it if you're doing it right. You should be feeling it in your oblique. You bend down as far as you can, but you need to keep your hips solid, and that's where people make the mistake and they don't feel it as much. So you should be feeling it in your side here as you bend, go as low as you can, and then you stop, and then you come up. She says no typewriter hips. What that means is people go out like that, and you won't feel it as much. That's why you want to keep your hips solid and go down. So in Modify, you may only need to go this, but you should be feeling it in this opposite side, that pull. And then as you feel the pull, it gets a little harder, you just come back up. And then you do it on both sides. The next one is the side raise, side leg. So you're going to be in side plank when you do this. And so this move is difficult for most people. So on the modifier, cat is actually on the knee. And so when you're in side plank, you want to keep your arm right by your shoulder. You don't want your arm out here because you could possibly pull out your shoulder. You get a better base of support if you're like this. And then what you'll see is Kat, she was on the knee like this, and you should feel it right here, arm up, and then she just lifts up. So even this might be too hard for you. If you have to do this, then that's what you got to do. And don't feel bad if that's what you want to do. But what you do is weeks progress. You want to challenge yourself, and you will get better. So on the modifier, you keep your arm up, and you go like this. This is still even sort of hard for me now to do it unmodified. So on unmodified, what you do is you keep your same thing. I keep my arm in the plane, so I'm not leaning forward. And then you're like this, holding your side plank, lifting your arm. So it's a little harder for me on this side because this is the side where I have my blood clots. So you may not have the strong side. You'll see me on this side. I can do it a lot better. I have more range of motion. So see, I have more range of motion over here, and so that's normal when you're doing the side thing. With all movements, like I've told you, consistency, form, and moving the whole time will trump speed and how much you're lifting. And so that's what I want to stress as you do these movements. So that's the end of the Dirty 30 walkthrough. Hopefully that's been beneficial. Like Doug and I say, please reach out in our group. Let us know if you have any questions about it. So this is your 6th workout. Tomorrow you'll do a yoga fix, and then the 2nd week you repeat again, and then 3rd week then you do it again. On the 3rd week, you guys may want to do the double program. It is an option, so just listen to your body and see what you can. But I always recommend, if you feel like you want to push yourself, try to push yourself. But if it starts becoming a situation where it's unsafe, don't do it, and just stick with the one. So have fun with Dirty.